So second experiment is potentiometric estimation of potassium dichromate solution using standard ferrous ammonium sulfate solution. FAS means ferrous ammonium sulfate solution. Last class, the title was conductometric estimation. What does it mean? With the help of conductivity measurement, we determined the concentration of an acid solution. Here, the question is potentiometric estimation. So what we will measure? In this experiment, which parameter we will measure?
Potential difference.
Potential difference. So by measuring potential difference, we will be able to find the concentration of potassium dichromate solution. That is the major difference between the previous experiment and the present experiment. To determine potassium dichromate solution concentration, you have to perform a titration. For that titration, we require ferrous ammonium sulfate solution with known concentration. So to perform this experiment, I will be giving to you ferrous ammonium sulfate solution with a known concentration, and that known concentration is 0.1 molar. So you can note it down. You can note it down. The ferrous ammonium, question little bit difference is there. Okay, made a mistake here. Question is opposite. A potentiometric estimation of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution using standard potassium dichromate. So just opposite. We are not going to find the concentration of potassium dichromate. We are going to find the concentration of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution. For that, potassium dichromate solution with a known concentration will be given to you. Okay. Any doubt? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. So I will change now itself. Once again. So our job is to find the concentration of FAS solution using potassium dichromate solution. And the given potassium dichromate solution concentration will be 0.1 molar concentration. With the help of that, we have to determine the concentration of ferrous ammonium sulfate by performing potentiometric titration. So instrument will look like this, similar to conductometric instrument, conductivity meter instrument. This instrument is also having two parts. You can see those parts here. One, a potentiometer along with a display unit. Here you can see two electrodes. One will be an indicator electrode. The second one will be a reference electrode. Unlike the conductivity meter, where both the electrodes were made from the same electrode, which was platinum, here that is different. Here both the electrodes are different. One, an indicator electrode. The second one, a reference electrode. In the present experiment, we will use the reference electrode as calomel electrode, and the indicator electrode as platinum electrode. Now I will go back to your theory, where what is the difference between an indicator electrode and a reference electrode will be mentioned. Do you know what is the difference between an indicator electrode and a reference electrode? Okay, I will explain that. Imagine you put some solvent or solution inside this beaker. Somebody's mic is unmuted. Please mute it. Okay. Consider you have a beaker. In this beaker, you put some solution. You dip calomel electrode as well as platinum electrode. This platinum electrode will change its potential based on the concentration of the solution you have taken. If the concentration of the solution increases or decreases, the potential generated in platinum electrode will change. But at the same time, whatever solution you are taking, whatever concentration you are taking, the potential generated in calomel electrode will not change. So the potential in calomel electrode will be constant, and the potential in the indicator electrode will change its value based on the concentration of the solution you have taken. Clear now? What is the difference between indicator electrode and reference electrode? Any doubt?
Yes, sir.
This is clear, right? Now, name is potentiometer. So we are measuring potential, but there is a problem. Actually, we will not be able to measure potential. Rather, we can measure only potential difference. How can we measure the potential difference generated in this solution? Easy. Put one indicator electrode, put one reference electrode, connect those electrodes to a voltmeter, then you will be able to get the potential difference. So actually, you are measuring the potential difference between the reference electrode and the indicator electrode. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, as I told, the potential of the indicator electrode depends upon the concentration of the solution you have taken, and reference electrode concentration, reference electrode potential doesn't depend on the concentration. Now, then if you take differences between the potential in indicator electrode and calomel electrode, that difference in the potential, that is potential difference, that will depend upon the concentration of the solution. One more time. Whether I have to explain it one more time? Very important.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will explain that one more time. Indicator electrode potential depends upon the concentration of the solution. Reference electrode potential does not depend upon the concentration of the solution. The difference between the potential, that is potential difference, then it will be depending upon the concentration of the solution. Still not
Yes, sir.
clear? Then I will explain one more time. Imagine platinum electrode potential. We take it as 8 volt. Imagine a simple value, 8 volt. Reference electrode, calomel electrode potential, we are taking it as 2 volt. Now, I'm changing the concentration of the solution. Now, platinum electrode shows potential difference potential 10 volt. Calomel electrode not changing, that is 2 volt. Their difference now, whether it changed now, the difference?
Yes, sir.
Yes. That means if you change the concentration of the solution, potential difference also changes. Am I right? So by measuring the potential difference, we will get information about concentration. Clear?
Yes, sir.
How to perform the experiment that I am going to discuss with you now. To perform this experiment, what we have to do, we have to take ferrous ammonium sulfate solution 25 ml in a beaker. We took ferrous ammonium sulfate solution 25 ml in a beaker. Ferrous means Fe2 plus, right? So this solution contains a good number of ferrous ions, which are Fe2 plus ions that you have taken in the beaker. Into this beaker, we have to add 5 ml of dilute sulfuric acid solution. We have to add 5 ml of dilute sulfuric acid solution. Why we are adding dilute sulfuric acid? Reason is this. Here we are going to perform a titration experiment, which is a redox reaction. All of you know what is redox reaction. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
In that redox reaction, potassium dichromate acts as oxidizing agent. But potassium dichromate can act as a good oxidizing agent only in acidic and basic conditions. So to make the solution acidic, we have added sulfuric acid. Now you understood why we have added 5 ml of sulfuric acid solution to the ferrous ammonium sulfate solution. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So first we have taken 25 ml of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution. It contains a good number of Fe2 plus ions. Into that we have added 5 ml of sulfuric acid solution because we are going to do a redox reaction. In that redox reaction, potassium dichromate is going to act as an oxidizing agent, and it is a good oxidizing agent in acidic condition. To make the solution acidic, we have added sulfuric acid solution. Got my point? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. Into that beaker, we have to put our electrodes. One platinum electrode, one reference electrode. So we have put one platinum electrode and we put one reference electrode, which is calomel electrode. Then we can measure the potential difference between platinum electrode and calomel electrode with the help of a voltmeter, and that value we can measure if we are attaching a voltmeter. So in the instrument, that voltmeter is attached in this unit. Okay, voltmeter will be inside this unit. You will not be able to see it. Only the measurement we will be able to see. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll go back to experiment. So first we have taken, again I'm telling, 25 ml of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution. Into that 5 ml of sulfuric acid solution. Then we are measuring the potential difference. Even though we are measuring the potential difference, I will mention it as only potential. But whenever I am telling E potential, actually it is not potential, it is potential difference. To make the sentence simple, I made the potential difference as potential. But you should know that whatever we are measuring, it is potential difference. But now, for time being, I will call it as potential. So when you connect both the electrodes, we will get potential. Okay, any doubts?
No, sir.
No. Now, This potential will be in the unit millivolt. Unit will be millivolt. Okay. Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay.
So it's a
Next,
permanent value.
which this millivolt? This
Yes,
E
sir.
value. E value depends on the concentration of the solution you have taken.
Okay, sir. So it will be always milli.
A millivolt. Whatever
Okay,
solution that we are giving in our lab, that is having a concentration in the range where it will give a potential in the range of millivolt only.
Okay, sir.
Around 250 to 300 millivolt. In between only we will give.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Next step, we have to take a burette. Inside that burette, we have to take 0.1 molar potassium dichromate solution. 0.1 molar potassium dichromate solution. So potassium dichromate solution concentration is known to us. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Potassium dichromate solution we are going to add. We have not added yet. We are going to add into the ferrous ammonium sulfate solution, and there will be a redox reaction happens where ferrous will be converted into ferric. Ferrous will be converted into ferric. And the entire equation for this reaction is this one. I don't want you to by heart it. Not required. Okay. Rather, you just wanted to know for which atoms or groups undergoes oxidation and reduction. Which groups undergo oxidation, which group undergo reduction. Only that you have to learn. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So in the solution, Fe2 plus ions are there. This Fe2 plus ions after this reaction will be converted into Fe3 plus ion. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this reaction is oxidation. At the same time, potassium dichromate solution contains dichromate ion. Dichromate ion will undergo reduction to form Cr3 plus ions. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This Cr2O7 2 minus is actually Cr6 plus ion. Both are same. If you have doubt, you just to find the oxidation state of chromium. You will get it as +6. Very simple.
Could you repeat?
See, Cr2O7 2 minus. I will calculate it. Then you will understand. Cr2O7 2 minus. What is the oxidation state of normal oxygen? -2.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Right. -2. So total will be. I will explain in a better way. Potassium dichromate, right?
Yes, sir.
+1 potassium.
Yes, sir.
-2.
Oxygen.
Oxygen.
Total 0 now.
Yes, sir.
Total charge 0.
Yes, sir.
So now you know that chromium is having an oxidation. So instead of writing dichromate, it has Cr6 plus ion,
Yes, sir.
right? So equation I have rewritten as Fe2 plus Cr6 plus gives Fe3 plus Cr3 plus. Clear now?
Yes, sir.
So Fe2 plus undergoes oxidation and Cr6 plus undergoes reduction.
Yes, sir.
Why Fe2 plus is undergoing oxidation? You see its oxidation state 2 plus converted to 3 plus. If oxidation state increases, we call that reaction as oxidation. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Same time, Cr6 plus oxidation state reduced to 3 plus. Oxidation state reduces means reduction. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So again, I'm telling the reaction that happens between ferrous ammonium sulfate and potassium dichromate is a redox reaction. Fe2 plus is converted into Fe3 plus, which is an oxidation reaction, and Cr6 plus converted into Cr3 plus, which is a reduction reaction. No doubt.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Next slide. Little bit difficult. I will try to make it more easy. First step. To this ferrous ammonium sulfate solution, before adding potassium dichromate solution, we measured the potential value that we have noted it down. Second step, we are going to add 0.5 ml of potassium dichromate through the burette. So when that 0.5 ml of potassium dichromate solution reacts with the ferrous ammonium sulfate solution, some of the Fe2 plus ions will be converted into Fe3 plus ions. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Can you see now few Fe3 plus ions introduced?
Yes, sir.
So Fe2 plus will be converted into Fe3 plus by the addition of potassium dichromate solution, because oxidation will happen to Fe2 plus. No doubt.
No, sir.
Yes.
Now potassium dichromate solution, we took it in a burette. Am I right?
Yes,
So
sir.
inside
Yes,
the
sir.
burette, chromium is having an oxidation state of +6 as per our previous equation.
Yes, sir.
Right? We discussed no potassium dichromate oxidation state of chromium is +6, right?
Yes, sir.
So in the burette, the oxidation state of chromium was +6, but once it reacted with ferrous ammonium sulfate, what will be the oxidation state of chromium
Plus
after the reaction?
Cr3 plus.
3 plus. So whatever potassium dichromate you are adding into the ferrous ammonium sulfate solution will be converted into Cr3 plus. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So now after the addition of 0.5 ml of potassium dichromate solution, you will be able to see two different types of Fe ions and one type of chromium ion. Am I right? Inside the solution.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? Now, among these two different metal ions, which metal ion has two different types of ions, chromium or Fe?
Yes, sir.
Which one? Fe or chromium? Which one has two different types of ions in the solution? Fe, right? If two different ions of the same metal is present in a solution, the existence of those two ions generates the potential. So now the potential developed in the electrodes are due to Fe ions. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
whether chromium ion in the solution can it generate any potential?
No, sir.
Why?
Because chromium, it is put in very small quantity, and once it reacts with ferrous ion, there is only Cr3 plus. There is no
Only Cr3 plus.
Cr6
Only
plus.
one type of chromium ion is present in the solution. Only one type of ion will not generate any potential. Fe, two types of ions are there. One Fe2 plus, one Fe3 plus. So it can generate potential. So the potential generated by this cell, because we have two electrodes, that's why I call it as a cell. This cell is entirely due to Fe. So I can write a Nernst equation. All of you know what is Nernst equation, right?
Yes, sir.
So can I write a Nernst equation like this now?
Yes, sir.
So we are adding potassium dichromate solution into the ferrous ammonium sulfate solution. Fe2 plus is converted into Fe3 plus. Whatever Cr6 plus we have added is converted into Cr3 plus. Now in the solution, in the beaker, only three types of ions you can see. One is Fe2 plus, one is Fe3 plus, one is Cr3 plus. Among that, Fe is having two types of ion, so it can generate potential. So the potential generated inside the solution is only due to two types of Fe ions. So I can write an equation, that is Nernst equation, as this. E cell, the potential generated in this cell is only due to Fe. And we all know what is Nernst equation. E0 Fe plus 0.0591 divided by N log of Fe3 plus by Fe2 plus. Can I write like this? Any doubt?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Now, what happens to the Fe2 plus concentration when you are adding potassium dichromate? Whether it is decreasing or increasing?
Increasing.
Fe2 plus ion concentration. Whenever we are adding potassium dichromate solution, Fe2 plus is converted into Fe3 plus. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So what
Yes,
happens
sir.
to the concentration of Fe2 plus?
Decreasing.
Decreases. What is
It will
happening to Fe3 plus ion concentration?
It will
Increases.
increase.
It is increasing. So numerator is increasing, denominator is decreasing. The entire factor increases or decreases?
Increases.
So total potential generated by Fe is increasing or decreasing?
Increasing.
So what does it mean? Whenever we are adding potassium dichromate, electrode potential increases. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Or the cell potential
Yes,
increases,
sir.
right? So we will be able to see the potential increases by the addition of potassium dichromate solution initially. The reason, there is a conversion between Fe2 plus ions into Fe3 plus. So Fe3 plus ions concentration increases, Fe2 plus ion concentration decreases. Then as per the Nernst equation, the numerator increases, denominator decreases. So the entire factor increases, so the potential increases. Understood? Any doubt?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Again, we are adding another 0.5 ml. So measure that potential, new potential you measure, then again add 0.5 ml of potassium dichromate solution. Again add 0.5 ml of potassium dichromate solution. If you are adding potassium dichromate solution again, what happens? Fe2 plus will be again converting into Fe3 plus. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Again, whatever Cr6 plus you are adding into the solution is being converted into Cr3 plus. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now how many types of Fe ions are still there
2.
in the solution?
Sir, two types.
Two, Fe2 plus and Fe3 plus, right?
Yes, sir.
But only Cr3 plus is in the beaker. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So still the potential is developed by Fe ions. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Fe2 plus again decreases, Fe3 plus again increases.
Yes, sir.
Potential increases.
Yes, sir.
Again, potential increases. So whenever you are adding potassium dichromate, potential increases due to the conversion of Fe2 plus into Fe3 plus. Clear? No doubt.
Yes, sir.
No doubt, right?
No doubt, sir.
Yes, sir.
At a particular point, the entire Fe2 plus will be converted into Fe3 plus at a particular point.
Yes, sir.
Reason? We know that Fe2 plus concentration is decreasing, right? So
Yes,
at
sir.
a particular point, entire Fe2 plus will be converted into Fe3 plus ions.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And that point is known as end point.
Yes, sir.
Any doubt?
No, sir.
So end point, when it will reach? When Fe2 plus ions are completely converted into Fe3 plus ion. At that situation, we will call this reaction is finished. Reaction is over and we got our end point. Any doubt?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Now, so at that situation, it will be like this. Am I right? All Fe2 plus ions are now all are now
Fe3 plus.
Fe3 plus. Now, we are not stopping the addition of potassium dichromate. I told you reaction got over, but we are not stopping the addition of potassium dichromate. So what does it mean? Again, after the conversion of Fe2 plus ions into Fe3 plus ions, still we are adding potassium dichromate solution into the beaker. We are not stopping the addition of potassium dichromate. Now, whatever potassium dichromate you are adding after the endpoint, whether that potassium dichromate is going to react.
No, sir.
No reaction because complete Fe2 plus is consumed, right? Now there is no reaction. Right? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt? So what you are actually doing? You are actually incorporating now Cr6 plus ions into the solution, right? Because it is not going to react now. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So after the equivalence point, what actually you are doing? You are introducing a new ion, which is Cr6 plus into the solution, right?
Yes, sir.
Now you tell me, which metal is having two different ions in the solution?
Cr, sir.
Cr, right? Now who will generate potential now? Fe or Cr?
Cr.
Cr will
Cr.
generate potential. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So now the potential of the cell is due to Cr. So can I write another equation for the cell potential?
Yes, sir.
ECr, now the potential is due to chromium. That we can write it as E0Cr plus 0.0591 by N log of Cr6 plus log of Cr. I'm keep on adding potassium dichromate. If I am keep on adding potassium dichromate, which chromium ion concentration will increase?
Cr6 plus.
Cr6 plus, because that Cr6 plus you are keep on adding and it is not going to react, means you are increasing the concentration of Cr6 plus. So numerator increases, right? Is there any change in the number of Cr3 plus ion after the equivalence point?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Whatever Cr3 plus was formed, it's same, right? Before the equivalence point, whichever Cr3 plus ions formed, only those Cr3 plus ions will be there in the solution. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So denominator is not changing, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Numerator is increasing. So this factor will increase or decrease.
Increase.
So ECR also will.
Increase.
What does it mean? When we up to the equivalence point, potential is increasing. After the equivalence point also, potential is increasing, right? Anytime potential is decreasing?
No, sir.
No. So in potentiometry, you will be getting always increase in the potential. But the potential generated by different ions, they are different. For example, till the equivalence point, potential was generated because of Fe ions. After the equivalence point, potential is generated by chromium ion. That is the only difference. Am I right? Clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
So I will show you how the values you will get. So potassium dichromate 0.5 ml each you are adding. And the respective potential value in millivolt you have measured. One example I have given here. Before adding potassium dichromate, the initial potential value was 278. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Clear? You are adding 0.5 ml, potential increased to 300. You have added another 0.5 ml, potential increased to 320. You are adding another 0.5 ml, potential increased to 338. You added again 0.5 ml, potential increased to 355. You are adding potential increasing. You are adding potassium dichromate increasing. You are adding potassium dichromate increasing. Adding potassium dichromate increasing. Now you see the increase is almost a steady increase, right? Almost a steady increase, around 10, 20, around 30.
Yes, sir.
Increasing. But
Yes,
at
sir.
a particular point, for example, here at 5 ml of potassium dichromate addition, from 480 to 780, a jump. Could you see that jump?
Yes, sir.
Around 300 millivolt suddenly increased. This indicates that you reach the end point or equivalence point. Okay.
Okay, sir.
But are you stopping the addition of potassium dichromate?
No, sir.
So you are
No, sir.
keep on adding potassium dichromate. Again, potential will increase, right?
Yes, sir.
As per our theory, it is increasing 780 to 800, 820, 850, 870 like that. Clear? Any doubt?
No, sir.
So
No,
from
sir.
here to here, the increase is due to Fe2 plus conversion to Fe3 plus, right?
Yes, sir.
From here to here, the increase is due to addition of more Cr6 plus. Students normally they make mistakes that they will tell after the equivalence point, potential is increased due to the conversion of Cr3 plus to Cr6 plus. There is no conversion, there is no reaction after the equivalence point. After the equivalence point, what you are doing, you are keep on adding chromium ion, right?
Yes, sir.
Cr6 plus ion. So it is due to the addition of Cr6 plus ion, not due to any reaction or conversion. Okay. Clear? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Now, if I draw a graph, volume of potassium dichromate in x-axis and potential in y-axis, initially up to 4.5 ml, I will get a gradual increase in the potential. When we reach at 5 ml, potential drastically increased. from 5 ml to 8 ml, gradually increasing. See the nature of the graph?
Yes, sir.
Now the question, why at the end point, there is a sudden jump in the potential?
So because there is sudden increase in potential in
There
the
is a sudden
endpoint.
increase in potential. It may be due to, what could be the reason? Up to the equivalence point, that means up to here, the potential increases due to the conversion of Fe2 plus ions into Fe3 plus
Yes,
ions.
sir.
After
After
the
that,
equivalence
there-
point, the potential increase is due to the addition of Cr6 plus ion. Now my question, why at the equivalence point, why there is a jump in the potential?
Sir, because there is a difference in the concentration for Cr, sir. Chromium ion. Chromium has that higher potential than iron.
That's
because
the answer that I will come back to that answer. Answer is correct. See here. Before the equivalence point, who gave the potential? Fe or Cr?
Fe.
After the equivalence point, who gave the potential?
So
Chromium.
Chromium. So at the equivalence point, who gave the potential? At the equivalence point, we have to take the average of the potential given by Fe and Cr. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Before the equivalence point, the potential was given by Fe. So I will go back to the Fe equation. Up to the equivalence point, potential was given by Fe. And in that Fe, what is the value of E0 Fe I have given?
7.5.
0.75 volt. After the equivalence point, the potential is given by chromium. What is the E0 Cr value of chromium I have given?
1.33.
Can you see now? At the equivalence point, what will be the value of E0? Average of
2. Okay.
somewhere around 1.04 volt. Average around.
Yes, sir.
So up to the equivalence point, E0 value was 0.75. After the equivalence, before the equivalence point, E0 value was 0.75 volt. After the equivalence point, E0 value was 1.04 volt. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So before, at the equivalence point, is there any difference in E0 value?
Yes, sir.
1.04 volt minus 0.75 volt, right? Is it around 0.29 volt?
29 volts.
Yes, sir.
0.29 volt means around 290 millivolt.
Yes, sir.
We will go back to our values. Is it the jump is somewhere around 290 millivolt?
Yes, sir.
Around 300, right?
Yes, sir.
Now you know why there is a 290 or 300 millivolt sudden jump.
Yes, sir.
So before the equivalence point, the potential was given by Fe, and Fe E0 value was 0.75 volt. At the equivalence point, you are taking the average of the potential of Fe and Cr. The average is 1.04 volt. Now, if you compare the E0 value before the equivalence point and at the equivalence point, that is 1.04 minus 0.75, that is around 0.29 volt. 0.29 volt means around 290 millivolt. Now you know why there is a jump of 290 millivolt. Clear? Any doubt? So why the potential increases? Why there is a sudden jump? You got the answer, right?
Yes, sir.
But how we will get the equivalence point? From this graph, we will not get any equivalence point. The reason, always the potential is increasing, right?
Yes, sir.
There is not a specific trend. In conductometry, it was decreasing, then it was increasing, right? If you remember.
Yes, sir.
So two trends we got, one decreasing trend, one increasing trend. Here only increasing trend. If you are writing only increasing trend, we will not be able to find the equivalence point. So this graph will not help us in determining the equivalence point. So for that purpose, we have to draw another graph. That graph, how you will draw, I will explain. We know at each volume of potassium dichromate addition, what is the E value, right?
Yes, sir.
What I'm going to do now, I'm going to take derivative of this E value. How to take derivative of this E value, I will explain now. We are going to calculate delta E value. Delta E means change in potential. How to find the change in potential? For 0 ml of potassium dichromate addition, I will not write any delta E value. Why I will not write any delta E value, that I will explain later. For 0.5 ml, now the potential is 300. You subtract the before value from this 300 and write it here. 300 minus 278, 22. Got the point?
Yes, sir.
Next, 338 minus 320, write it as 80. 355 minus 338, 70. 380 minus 355, 20. 420 minus 380, 40. 440 minus 420, 20. Now you know how we can calculate delta E value?
Yes, sir.
Subtract one value before from the existing value. So you will get delta E. Similarly, can you calculate delta V value?
Yes, sir.
0.5 minus 0, 0.5. 1 minus 0.5, 1.5. 1.5 minus 1.5. Every time delta V will be 0.5. Am I right? Because we
Yes,
are
sir.
keep on adding 0.5 ml each. Now, next step, you divide this delta V from delta E. Delta E by delta V. Delta 22 by 0.5. So you will get 44. 20 divided by 0.5. You will get 40. 18 divided by 0.5. You will get 36. 17 divided by 0.5. You will get 35 or 34. Got my point?
Yes, sir.
So now you got a new set of value, that is delta E by delta V. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now you draw another graph, delta E by delta V against volume of potassium dichromate solution. So you will get data points like this. You will get data points like this. From the top of that peak to the x-axis, you draw a perpendicular. That perpendicular will meet the graph at a particular point. That is the equivalence point. That is the volume of potassium dichromate you have added to completely oxidize Fe2 plus ions in the ferrous ammonium sulfate solution. Got my point? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Why you got a peak here? We go back to the values. See, at a particular time, 300 value, how much you got it as? 600, right? That delta E by delta V.
Yes, sir.
Because of a jump happens at equivalence point.
Yes, sir.
That's why if you draw the graph, at a particular point, you will get a higher delta E by delta V value. Clear? Any doubt?
Yes, sir.
No doubt, right?
No, sir.
So now what we found the volume of potassium dichromate solution, to completely oxidize a ferrous ammonium sulfate solution, right?
Yes, sir.
Now you use N1V1 equal to N2V2 equation. N1V1 equal to N2V2 equation. Okay. Our job is to find the concentration of ferrous ammonium sulfate. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
That you can substitute in this equation. Volume of potassium dichromate, that is this equivalence point. From the graph you will get. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Potassium dichromate solution normality. I told you that I have given to you that solution. I will give it to you. And the concentration was 0.1 molar. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Divided by volume of the ferrous ammonium sulfate solution you have taken. How much we have taken in that beaker?
25 ml.
Can you substitute now all the values?
Yes, sir.
So you will get the ferrous ammonium sulfate concentration in normality.
Yes, sir.
Right? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Once you got the concentration in normality, if you want to convert it into grams per liter, what you have to do? Multiply with the molecular weight of ferrous ammonium sulfate, right? Or equivalent
Yes,
weight
sir.
of ferrous ammonium sulfate. Ferrous ammonium sulfate equivalent weight is 392. So you multiply with that value with 392, you will get the concentration in grams per liter. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt?
No, sir.
So if you have any doubt related to this experiment, so this experiment explanation is given. I will post one more video how to perform that experiment. In addition to that,
Class
I already made one more video. What is the theory behind that experiment? That also I will post in the afternoon. Clear? Any doubt?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, we will go back one more time. Everything we will discuss now. Instrumentation. Potentiometer is having two separate parts. One, a display unit. Second, the potentiometric setup. In potentiometric setup, we will be having two electrodes. One, an indicator electrode. Here we are using platinum electrode as an indicator electrode. And we require a reference electrode. Here we are using reference electrode, calomel electrode. Indicator electrode will change its potential based on the concentration of the solution that you are taking. Reference electrode will not change its potential based on the concentration we are taking. But their difference, that is the potential difference. Potential difference depends upon the concentration of the solution. So we can use the potential difference to measure the concentration of the solution. That is the principle behind potentiometry. To perform that experiment, what we have to do, we have to take 25 ml of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution. Our job is to find its concentration. Into that solution, we have to add 5 ml of sulfuric acid solution. Why we are adding sulfuric acid solution? Which experiment we are going to perform here? That is the redox reaction. In order to do that reaction, potassium dichromate should act as an oxidizing agent. And potassium dichromate is a good oxidizing agent in acidic condition. So to make the reaction medium more acidic, we have added sulfuric acid solution. Clear? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Into that
No,
beaker, which contains 25 ml of ferrous ammonium sulfate solution, we have to put the electrodes. Both calomel and the platinum electrode we have to dip. And we have to measure the potential generated between those electrodes. And we have to note down. Now, this potential is on, and to this solution, we have to add potassium dichromate solution through the burette. When you are adding potassium dichromate to the ferrous ammonium sulfate solution, what happens? Fe2 plus ions in the solution will get oxidized to Fe3 plus ion solution. So now the present solution contains two different types of Fe ions and one type of chromium ion. Because the presence of two different types of Fe ions, the potential generated in the cell is due to Fe ions. So we wrote an equation, which is an Nernst equation, where the potential is generated due to the presence of Fe2 plus ions and Fe3 plus ions. During the reaction, what happens to the concentration of Fe2 plus ions? Fe2 plus ions concentration decreases and Fe3 plus ions concentration increases. That means in the Nernst equation, the numerator increases, denominator decreases. So the entire potential difference will increase. This is the reason why till the endpoint potential is increasing. Reason is this. Now, at a particular point, which is endpoint, the entire Fe2 plus ions are now converted into Fe3 plus ions. But we are not stopping the addition of potassium dichromate. We are keep on adding potassium dichromate. But whatever potassium dichromate we are adding after the equivalence point, that is not going to react. And Cr6 plus ion, which is present in the potassium dichromate solution, will be added into the solution now. Now the beaker contains now two different types of chromium ions, which are Cr6 plus and Cr3 plus, and only one type of Fe3 plus ions. Because the presence of only one type of Fe ion, now Fe ion cannot generate potential. The potential will be generated only by chromium ion. Two types of chromium ion now, Cr3 plus and Cr6 plus. By the addition of potassium dichromate, you are actually increasing the concentration of Cr6 plus. So as per the new Nernst equation, for chromium, we can see that the numerator is increasing because of the addition of chromium ion, Cr6 plus ion. And the denominator Cr3 plus is not changing at all because after the equivalence point, there is no reaction happening. So up to the equivalence point, potential is generated by Fe ions. After the equivalence point, potential is generated by chromium ions. Now, why there is a jump in the potential at the equivalence point? I told you the explanation. Before the equivalence point, the potential is generated only by Fe ions, and E0 value of Fe, the standard electrode potential of Fe in this case was 0.75 volt, and for chromium it is 1.33. So when you are taking the average will come somewhere around 1.04 volt. So at the equivalence point, value is 1.04 volt. Before the equivalence point, the value was from Fe ions, which was around 0.75 volt. Now, if you take the average, you are getting 1.04 volt, which is somewhere around 0.29 volt, higher than that. 29 volt, if you convert it into millivolt, that is coming around 290 millivolt. So you will be getting somewhere around 290 to 300 millivolt increase at the time of endpoint. Clear?
Yes, sir.
But there is a problem. We will not be able to.
Sir, I had a question to ask.
Yes. Yes.
Sir, in equivalence point, would you
Equivalence point?
say that it's a saturated solution?
No,
At the
so
point
it's not
of
a saturated
equivalence?
solution. No, at the point of equivalence point, which reaction you initially imagined? We imagined a redox reaction is going to happen. Am I right?
Sir.
That redox reaction will be completed at the equivalence point. The meaning of equivalence point means the reaction got completed.
Okay, sir.
So at that time, whatever potassium dichromate solution you have added is completely utilized for the conversion of Fe2 plus ions in the ferrous ammonium sulfate solution into Fe3 plus ions. That is the meaning of equivalence point. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We will not be able to directly find the equivalence point from the graph because here the trend is always on increasing trend. There is no two different trend as in the case of conductometry. So instead of directly plotting the potential against volume of the potassium dichromate, we had to calculate delta E by delta V. How to calculate delta E by delta V, I have mentioned, right? That delta E by delta V, you have to plot it against volume of potassium dichromate solution. So you will get a graph like this. Where is the tip of the peak? From there, you draw a perpendicular to the x-axis. That x-axis, that point will give you information about volume of potassium dichromate solution required to completely oxidize the ferrous ammonium sulfate solution. Then with the help of N1V1 equal to N2V2, we will be able to calculate the normality of FAS solution, right? Once you are getting the normality of FAS solution, the concentration is in terms of now normality. If you want to convert it into grams per liter, you have to multiply that value with the gram equivalent weight of ferrous ammonium sulfate, that is 392. Okay, clear? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, now I will send you this PPT. I will send you. In addition to that, I will send you the laboratory record part of the first two experiments. You can go through that. Whatever I said, that will be there inside. As well as I will send you the how to perform this experiment. Everything I will send you afternoon. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let
Okay,
me
sir.
take the attendance. Let me take the attendance. One second. Okay, thank you. See you in the next class.
Thank you, sir.
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 Thank you.